in the same area. And in order to finance that, there is a certain element of free sale component. That means you can sell part of the tenements that you construct over there to anybody at the market price, and thereby cross-subsidize the cost of construction for the slum dwellers.
For Safia, being moved to free housing was a mixed blessing. She moved from the railway tracks to a new block, but she didn't know that she would be living on the 7th floor. The residents can't afford to keep the lift going, and at the moment they have no water supply. Safia has to carry water up 7 flights, and to make matters worse, she has just had a stomach operation.
I have only one thing to tell the government: either start the lift or at least solve our water problem. I'm helpless. I cannot bring water, or else at least start the lift. I will be able to use the lift to bring water. The government should do at least one of the 2 jobs.
These flats might be free, but maintaining them is costly. Many residents simply can't afford it.
If you look at the labor markets, these are the informal markets, where the wages that most of the people earn are so low that even if they move into formal settlements, the wages are not sufficient for them to maintain their formal settlements. So there is a bit of a mismatch over there. In order to transform the city, the incomes of individuals and poverty will have to be, these issues will have to be tackled.
With more than 800,000 people waiting for free housing, there's an urgent need to find new ways of paying for it. One expert says working with the private sector is not always the ideal solution.
The government has not been successful in administering, in implementing schemes that are of social interest. It has failed because of its own reasons, of bureaucratic failures, of corruption, of various other issues, of lack of will to actually provide and promote schemes of social interest. But that's on one side. But on the other side, there is this continuous pressure of the market, of this policy of privatization. Under the guise of privatization, the government is shirking its own responsibility. Okay, it's not that it doesn't have the will. The government's will is misplaced will. Its will is to promote the market. Its will is to push the privatization policy at the cost of social development.
But the State Housing Authority claim they do have the political will to find solutions. What they lack is the finance.
You see, before the SRA started, the projections were, they were political. They were promises. While working, you realize that the greatest hurdle you have is the availability of finance. You will have projects coming up only in the place where an investor he knows that he's either going to double or at least make 1.5 times the money he's putting in. Because it's a private sector driven scheme. What now, with the availability of finance coming up through the National Housing Bank, I'm trying to make it away from the developer towards the slum dweller and towards the NGO, where instead of the focus on the most profitable areas, the focus shifts dramatically all over the city. So wherever your slum is, you can build up your house. That is the kind of concept I'm now trying to put in.
But the Slum Rehabilitation Authority faces problems. They have to deal with cases like Chitra, who is not sure if she has the paperwork to prove she is eligible for free housing. Chitra is stranded in a redevelopment where the builder failed to finish the job. All the slum housings around her have been demolished. She and 30 other families are trying to find out what's going to happen to them.
I want to get the list of people who are going to get flats in the building. If we get the list, at least we will know that we are going to get rehoused.
If we are eligible, they should tell us, or at least our lawyer. The collector tells us to move. The developer already has agreement from 70% of the residents.
This is a transit camp, where slum dwellers are moved before they get better homes. They've been here for over a year, and there's still no sign of their homes being constructed. Chitra and her neighbours could go to the camp, but they're even worse than the slums.
The entire camp now has only one electric meter, and the bill is now $11,000. The bill has not been paid, and now the power will be cut.
The authorities accept it's not always straightforward when private companies are allowed to develop the slums.
In one sense, there is a little bit of a risk involved, where you have you give the private sector a free hand in doing that. There could be certain let's say mismanagement of this program, or some people could probably try to engineer it to their own benefits. So to that extent, the Slum Rehabilitation Authority has to play a much more active role in being vigilant to see that nobody takes advantage of this. Fortunately, we also have the media, which is extremely vigilant. We have the NGOs, which in Mumbai are extremely dominant in their presence. So it's not very easy for anyone to just get away by manipulating the system. Though, of course, I won't totally rule out the possibility of such things happening.
The most successful rehabilitation schemes are those where communities themselves have been involved in the design and building. Another important initiative has been the saving schemes set up by women slum dwellers. According to Joaquin Arputam, this is a first step to a better future.